What is up, gentlemen? How are you doing today?
Howdy, howdy.
Hey,
Doing
good.
well.
Good. We didn't do a proper introduction. We usually, I should have probably waited a second to put Chad up there, but we knew that you would bring in traffic and viewers, so that's why we did it this way.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, Isaac, how are you doing? Did you survive Halloween?
I did. We had a couple get-togethers, friends, family, passed out candy yesterday. It was chilly, but it was good. Played a lot of good Halloween-based games. How about you and your family?
Yeah, absolutely. Same way. We had 2 Halloween parties over the weekend. Had a really good time. We played some Ghosted from Big G Creative. Played Dracula's Feast a couple times last night, which is a favorite of mine. And everybody loved it. And so I feel like I need to go ahead and get another copy of that one. So,
Awesome.
but yeah. So, Chad, you are our guest host today. How are you doing, Chad?
Well, I don't know about the host part, but I'll be a guest. Yeah,
Guest.
you got to run the show.
Just a
Y'all
guest. Yeah. How are
No,
you
I'm
doing today?
well. Yeah, no, I appreciate the having me on a November 1st Halloween post show.
Yeah. So my 18-year-old daughter, she is now allowed to play Christmas music. She's been secretly playing Christmas music. I could hear it as I walked past. It was yesterday. I walked past the bedroom and I was like, "What is that? What is that? Is that Christmas music?" I walked in there and sure enough, so low, and I was like, "Are you playing Christmas music in your room secretly?" She was like, "Yeah, I am."
Hey, November 1st is fair game. If it was, I usually, so my wife keeps asking me to please wait longer and longer, but like weekend after Halloween is like Christmas decorations go up. That's like my favorite.
Okay, so you're the
I may
Christmas
try to
one.
push it out this year though.
You're the Christmas one in the family then.
Yeah, so I don't do any Halloween decorations, so
Okay.
I just concentrate everything on like Christmas and like have a ton of it. You know, I got a
There we go.
storage unit with stuff like so it's I think you can't do both. It's just too much work. So I just go
Yeah,
all in on the Christmas.
It is a lot. I'm thinking about doing really big next year for Halloween, but then I'm like, will that cut into the Christmas decorations anyway? So Helena, how are you? She's chiming in. So Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
So we are actually talking about art in games tonight. That's going to be the topic of the show. And we have an opening question of favorite board game artist or artists. So do you have a couple that you would name favorite board game artists?
Well, you want to start with me?
Yeah, we'll start with you. We'll just go around.
I didn't know if y'all were gonna like take all like I guess I can start and like just hit the ones that like everyone was always gonna say. I was gonna try if we're gonna go for a deep cut or something, but so I mean there are certain people I think that's interesting in the board game industry because you can see their art and like instantly know. Like I can see a game cover and like right away like I know who that is. You know, I think certain artists I think it's kind of interesting. They have their own like signature styles that you can pick out pieces of it. I think obviously Detroit comes to mind. There you can see a Detroit piece of artwork and know it's Detroit.
Yeah.
But what's interesting if you look at some of his portfolio, like non-game portfolio, you probably would never pick out that it's that he does some stuff.
Really,
his board game stuff is usually generally a very specific style. Miko, I think is another good one. Like you can always pick out like a piece of Miko art. Bosley has a style that's very, very noticeable. Even though he's done a lot of range of things, across critters and Everdell to like the
I saw
Rundar, like so like you can still pick out his stuff. But yeah, like Quanchime, of course you can. He's a little bit of a chameleon. Sometimes you can't really pick out. You don't know it's always going to be Quanchime when you see it, but once you know it's him, you're like, oh yeah, I can tell that, right?
Yeah, Quanchai's on my list. I put down 3. Shauna Tenney, Helena said that is a great one. Yes, Shauna. In fact, I saw her artwork on a game a couple years ago, and I immediately started following her on Instagram. It was just like, yes, I like great artwork. So, and then of course her favorite, Joshua Capel. So. There we go.
Just in case Josh is watching, just gotta make sure to give that shot.
There we go. Of course, one of my Weberson Santiago, of course, because of the Bloody Inn.
Oh, the Bloody Inn. Yeah.
That's one of those games that because of the artwork, I bought it and then fell in love with it. And then also just the illustrations he's done. He did Quest and he did the remake of Coup, the reissue.
We're looking at that box cover, I think, at your house the other weekend.
Yep. Yeah, it's beautiful. So, and you immediately, like, as soon as you see Weberson's artwork, like, you immediately know. I saw something.
I know who that is.
Yeah, I saw something the other day. I was like, oh, Weberson did that, and immediately like looked for it, and yep, sure enough. So,
yeah, I think. One I definitely need to mention, because I think it's equal. It's like even more impressive. I think there are two people that come to mind because I think they're more impressive because they usually do like both sides of it. Because there's illustration work, there's artwork, then there's graphic design, which you absolutely can't undercut the importance of that because that's how the UX and like the UI from a player perspective interacting with that game and interacting with illustrations in that game, like that's how that comes to life. And I think you can have fantastic illustration artwork, but then poor graphic design. And the whole thing just kind of collapses, but good graphic design can help boost, kind of less subpar artwork. But I think there are people that do both, which I think is like an interesting hybrid.
Yeah.
Like Unicorn, right? Like, so like, Tool comes to mind there, right? Who does all his own graphic design work and illustration work. And Danny Devine as well,
That's true.
Does his graphic design work as well for the most part. I don't think he does it on all the games, but he absolutely just does it for Kohaku and then for Ghost Love Candy. And obviously the new Ghost Love Candy 2 that we're coming out.
And it's interesting. Danny's interesting because like I've seen different things that Danny's done, and I've been like, oh, Danny did that one. So it's not immediately noticeable because it's not one style.
Yeah, he's even more of a unicorn because he also does the game design too. So he cuts covers across the triumvirate of all three aspects.
That's true. So Isaac, who do you have on your list?
Chad said a few of them, but yes, Tool is like forefront for me with one of the ones you have one more that you didn't say that was on my list.
Yeah, so Beth Sobel. I feel like
Beth Sobel, of course.
If Beth Sobel's not on somebody's list, like, do they have eyeballs? So Beth Sobel was on my list. I put her down before I put anybody, so that you guys didn't take her.
I'll buy a game. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. I'll buy a game with Beth Sobel art on it just because it says Beth Sobel art. And so Beth, Ian, Scott Caputo.
Scott.
I love Sorcerer City and 100 Tory. The art on those are just you can tell there's respect paid, especially 100 Tory. For the culture, for the art, for the style. Like, I really love what both those guys are doing. And we talked about coming into this before Chad joined us. Like, if you don't say Cuddington's here, like, you miss out on another good, like, that transcends what's going on just in board gaming, right? And when I just think about the top of my head is Manny Tremblay also. He's doing with Marvel Dice Throne, right? Like he got to do his interpretations of those
of a Marvel character, which
that's
amazing.
Huge. If people don't realize, like, you play any Marvel, like a lot of the Marvel DC games, right? You're getting stock photos, you're in comic shots. Like, Manny got to play his version of these, and they're awesome, and you can tell it's his style, which is great.
When I saw Scarlet Witch, I immediately turned the phone to my son, and I was like, "Look at how Scarlet Witch looks here," and he was like, that's amazing, so so cool.
Great game, good game art can make or break a game. And
absolutely. So cool. So we have so here's a question. Is there a game that drew you in only on the art? I've talked about the Bloody Inn. We saw it sitting on the shelf and immediately had to buy it just solely based on the art, knowing nothing else about it with no research. So is there a game that's drawn you in like that?
Oh man, I feel like every game I buy, like especially like on Kickstarter, I'll have to I'll pass. I'm gonna hit the pass button.
Okay.
Like, let Isaac go on this one.
Well, here's my dumb one. Right, I saw this on Andrew's page. Right, Andrew's with us last week from
Family Gamers.
From Family Gamers, and when he posted this, and Ryan was the first one to say it too. Like, I thought 70s,
Yeah.
60s, 70s cartoon show, right? Like that's the first thing I thought of. I bought this literally based off the cover. I was like, oh, it's a roll right? Cool. That artwork, like it's simple. There we go.
I bought this because of you. Like this, because the artwork. I bought this literally because you made me play this at Gen Con or Origins. There you go.
I put my 2 copies in here. We played with 12 the other night, and it's great. But it is like that design was enough to just be like, oh, cool. Like I'm in. Like I want to know what that looks like. Spectacularly fun game. Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
My other one we talked about, Beth Sobel art. I just saw, and I hate cats, but I saw the Beth Sobel art style for cats. I'm not a cat guy. We're a dog family, but I saw the art to this, and I thought quilting and cats, like those are like the 2 bottom of my list things. But man, I grabbed this, and I love it, and my wife likes it more than I do, which is a game that means it gets played a lot more. But boy, you slap Beth Sobel's name on something. I bought a deck of cards. I've never kickstarted a deck of cards before.
Oh yeah, the
right.
Playing
I
cards.
bought them because her names are on. Her name's on it. So
Yep. Henry said, "What's up, y'all?"
Hey,
Henry, you actually just had a birthday recently, so congrats!
Happy birthday.
So, I believe I got that right. I hope I got that right.
So,
if not, I feel like
Henry's another game. So I would have bought this game, I think, like regardless, because I know Henry and I know the Keymaster folks really well. But I think from getting outside the game industry, and knowledge world, I think if you take a look at like Parks, like sitting on a shelf, right, like all the 59 Parks series art, getting it integrated into a game design is one. Like I think as a consumer, take off your industry hat. Just as a consumer, I think I'd walk in a store and see that, and I'd pick it up like sight unseen, not even like knowing how it played, right? And obviously, it's also a great game, on top of that too, which is nice.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, Space Park is that way. Space Park is so beautiful, and like that was one of those games that when I saw it, I was like, I've got to kickstart this, and so So let me look at my list and see what I wrote down for. Campy Creatures. Campy Creatures, because of my love for the old Universal monster movies. Campy Creatures was a must-own. It's just like the artwork and the style of each of the monsters, even the expansion. You recently showed on Instagram that you were playing. That was the limited edition, 2nd edition box cover, like Frankenstein. Man, so good.
It is so cool. Good. Yeah, like Emmerich's art is amazing. Actually, so I was out in Irvine, I guess it's right before the pandemic, and so I went to Bottle Logic, which that uses a lot of his art, at the brewery, for like not only just art like in the brewery, but like a lot of their labels and stuff. So I got to see a lot more of his art, than I would have otherwise. I'm like trying to get my wife to cut off the motion light on the backboard. It keeps going off.
Everything's gonna go off.
Like, can you cut that ring light off back there? Because like apparently you're coming in and out of the house back there with the dogs or something. And
that's hilarious.
An alert on the lights.
It's a live show. It happens.
It's a live show.
It's all good.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, Jeremy, a friend of mine here in Columbus, says, "Miss you, man." Jeremy, good to see you on here. So, so one other one that I want to mention is art. Let's see, Furnace. So my most recent buy was Furnace. The front cover of Furnace is just a beautiful box, and I love the colors, and I love the industrial look of it, and immediately had to have it. So that was my most recent art made me buy it. So
yeah, that one's we got this white border, and then that's just that's really cool looking. Like from a distance, it's like a person, but then you actually have some of the industrial stuff built inside. It is very engaging kind of cover.
Yeah, I would buy a poster
game that I learned at Gen Con. No, Origins.
Origins.
Yep. That. Yeah.
Yep.
Part of the game crew.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there a game that you wish received a visual facelift in the form of artwork? Is there a game that you wish received a visual facelift in the form of artwork? So,
and facelift is interesting, right? Doesn't mean the artwork's bad.
Right.
You just maybe would want a different style. That's how I approached it.
Yeah, mine is bad. My choice is I brought the box because it's bad. So.
Well, then you should start with.
Yes, let's see it. Come on, what do you got?
I'll start. So, Coin Quest. I don't know if anybody's played Coin Quest. This is an ugly box. There's a lot going on here. Weird caricatures. Like it's real yellow all over. It's I don't know. It nothing about this makes me want to play it. But it is a really, really good bag building game. Like I think one of the best bag building games. But it doesn't come off the table. It doesn't come off the shelf because it's super, super ugly. So, and that's a problem, you know.
Never even heard.
I never even heard of that game. And
really,
and it's also thought to be way worse when you picked it up. I was like, it's not really that bad.
It's real ugly. Like, and they carry that caricature type of art. Like the board is just whatever, you know. And it's this bidding, it's this bidding mechanic. But then they have these little portraits of these people on the boards, and it's just ugly. I don't know. Like I struggle with this. I've always struggled with this because the game itself is really good, and it's just nope. So
that's Beth Sobel artwork on that.
It's not. Beth Sobel with a crayon in third grade did better than that. So
yikes.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Tigris and Euphrates, the worst art ever for such a good game. Okay.
It's fair.
That's true.
That is fair.
All right. What do you all have now that I threw down on who did the artwork for this? I don't know. But I feel bad.
Giving accolades for it,
yeah.
Yeah. Chad, do you have one in mind?
I gotta think about it. Might look around the shelves trying to find something.
All right. Well, so mine, I was thinking, like I said, it's not. I appreciate the style of the artwork of this game, but man, I'd love to see a pimped out, again, Ian O'Toole graphically designed an art version of Food Chain. Like
I actually like the Food Chain art.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I can appreciate what they're doing with this art, but I'd love when you talk about a facelift. I thought let me see a pimped out version of this game. Like aesthetically, I could see this game being like crazy, right? But I mean, I'll take it for what it is. I don't.
Would you want like realistically illustrated food and stuff, or what would you want? I guess.
No, I think you'd want just a more like this is just a very simple 50s diner setup, right? I'd want something that's got a little bit more depth, but still that type of old-fashioned diner, that type of setup.
I think you go like 40s, 50s style, kind of like that paint. Type of art, like Life magazine, Norman Rockwell style.
There we go. Yeah, more like realistic life painting. Yeah, again, I appreciate it for what it is. I mean, I love playing it. I enjoy the game, but
like it totally is functional for exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But what would a deluxeified Food Chain look like?
It's true. Adele says Carcassonne. I like the classic look of the tiles, but would love different cover art. That's true. That would be interesting. I think almost like a reissue. That would be interesting to see what they would do with the cover art nowadays. So
I think a lot of those classic Euro games all have a very kind of noticeably dated style to them. I think if they were redone, they look a little better, like Castles of Burgundy and all those kind of things like that, right?
Well, the Castles of Burgundy,
they just got a new one, right?
So. Yeah, and it wasn't very well received from what I remember, So Charity Board Gamer, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. So
I'll tell you what I want.
What you really, really want?
No, I'll tell you. There's one game, and it just got like a new release, and and now actually the original cover made me just not even care about looking inside the box to see how it played or anything. And that was Great Western Trail, like the weird dudes on the cover, right? Those big heads are just really odd. Like that's one. Oh, now they got a new version with new artwork, and I'm like, okay, but I just couldn't buy it. I'm like, I don't want that on the shelf at all.
That's on my Christmas list. So
the original.
No, I want the second edition. So I like weird dudes on the cover of my boxes. So no, I really want second edition because I never bought the first one, and it just kind of went away, and now it's second edition. I really want that. That's on my Christmas wish list. So
fair. Good choice.
Yep. So, so let's see. 5 games that had art that really spoke to you. Okay, so we originally started this question with 5 beautiful games, and then we kind of went a little broader to 5 games that the artwork really spoke to you. You really like. You look at it and it's like, man, that just hits home with me. So we are each going to share 5 of these. We're just going to go around. Chad's going to go first, and we'll just go around in the circle here.
Okay.
Sound
yeah.
good?
So it's gonna be interesting because I think my 5 are all like for like different reasons.
Okay.
So
And this is in no particular order.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
this isn't like
So,
top
yeah.
down.
So just
I'm gonna
name
start-
one, and then we'll go around.
I'm gonna start with Alien Frontiers.
Okay.
That just so Alien Frontiers was one of like the earlier like hobby games like that got me pushing further into the hobby. And actually another one on my list also falls in that category. But the Alien Frontiers one, it's got really just this cool old science fiction style art. It feels very, very period. It's like old retro futurism, type art. It's just very, very cool. Like just the overall aesthetic is how it all comes together. And the graphic design is good in the game. Like it encapsulates that feeling of what that game should be. If that game had been crazy modern-y or like neon or something like that, I don't think I probably would have been as drawn to it. I think because that original palette.
Okay.
Alien Frontiers. That's one of
Alien
them.
Frontiers. Okay. I'm going to go with Tang Garden. I have them all over here. Tang Garden is gorgeous. I love gardening, and to see some of the trees in this, some of the illustrations and trees, and just the way that everything comes together, the way that the pieces fit together, the way that you make these scenic views that your miniatures are looking at throughout the game, it really connected with me because it's the same reason why I love gardening, like stepping back, looking at the whole picture and saying, man, that's really nice, and Tang Garden has that tranquil feel. It feels like you're creating this scenery or this landscape, and it's beautiful. It's one of those boxes that it will never be sideways on my game shelf. It will always face out. There's no reason for this game to be sideways. So
that one scores points for just your 3D kind of just visual experience.
Yeah. It's been a little while since we've played, but now that we're out of spooky season, I feel like I'm going to like Saturday morning set that thing up and say, "Hey, Aaron, guess what we're playing?" So
I haven't played that one. It's definitely on my list of ones I'd be interested to check out.
So what you got, Isaac?
All right, so I think I'm going to start with the one you gave up from your list.
Yeah, I actually replaced this with Tang Garden.
Go for it. There it is.
I gotta go with this with this bad boy with Wingspan. If a game is distracting enough, if the artwork's distracting enough for the game, then I know it's a winner for art, right? Like I'll just look at these cards. I'll read the little detail print that's too small to read, but it's got the little extra with the Beth Sobel artwork on the boards. But I tell you, I started following both the artists for this, Anne Marie and it's on the front here, right? Natalia and Anna Maria on Instagram, just to see their artwork, just see what they were doing. Just because, again, it transcended the game. Like I was interested in the artist, and just all the pieces are great. Even got these cool little hand woven.
Look at that!
Nests
Oh,
for
nice.
my eggs.
Did you knit that?
No, our friends Jason and Becky. Becky's mom made these for.
That's really cool.
A couple of us. So I load these up with eggs. Chocolate eggs come spring. Go in here also. But Wingspan has to be, as far as
Wingspan's
aesthetically,
beautiful.
one of the better looking games you'll ever play.
Absolutely.
So Wingspan is probably I think it's the only game that I have like gone and like deluxeified everything for. Like so.
Okay.
I don't know why. Like I was because it was just showing. I don't know why I did it, but like I've literally got every single Meeple source upgrade for that game. I literally have like bird's nest, like bird nesty things to put the eggs. I don't know, in like the dice tower for it. I don't mats. I got player mats. It's like anything that got put out for that game. I'm like, I want it. So
That's cool. That's cool.
I actually went to a gardening store and got a little bird statue that's like this big as the first player marker.
Nice.
So same thing. I just wanted to get more stuff to make it even look better.
Nice.
Right?
Adele says Sylvian has I guess so. Has gorgeous abstract art. Love the red fire demon trying to eat the green forest. Interesting. I'm going to look that one up now.
Yeah, I'm
very cool. So, all right. So, what you got, Chad?
So I keep cheating. I'm gonna cheat again.
Okay, you're changing it again.
Games. I know. I can keep like this. See, this is like you're slumming it at me on the show. So like
you're
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's fine. we knew our standards are low.
So. Yeah. So I'm gonna say 3, and it's for the same reason. It's just 3 good examples that are all in the same line. So I'm gonna say Last Night on Earth, Touch of Evil, and Fortune and Glory.
That is such a weird pick.
Why is this a weird pick? Wait, I'm gonna explain myself. Hold on. Here we go.
Go for it.
So, one, if you know those 3 games, well, yeah, they have art in it and graphic design, whatever, but they use photography. So they actually I think it's like the other friends or something, but they all get dressed up. They take real photography shots of like weapons and items and stuff, and they use that on all the card art. And the characters, everything else, and you'll see the same characters that show up in just different costumes across all 3 games. But what's cool about that though is like it really was like one of the first. Like you get that a lot, I think, in like IP games when they're based on a movie or a show. You'll get movie stills and stuff. But like for Flying Frog to go and like just invest the time and the effort that went into like getting all those costumes and backdrops, all that kind of stuff, and making this thematic experience. I mean, they even gave you a CD like to play like, while you play the game. Like, come on! Like, that alone, I think it's so like just uniquely immersive to me as an art alternate, kind of art form, kind of substitute for typical illustration. That's fair. And Last Night on Earth was one of the first games when it first came out. Obviously it was like zombies were huge at that point. So like basically that game is the reason my like regular Wednesday night gaming group got to start getting together, and because we were like playing all the scenarios and stuff, and like then we just kind of kept playing our games, and 10 plus years later, still meeting.
That's really cool. Yeah, awesome. Every time I see those box covers, I'm like, oh, like the Photoshopper inside of me is like, it's just like. I don't know. I struggle with it a little bit.
So good. It's like you're playing a movie. Like you can like.
I understand. And your rationale behind it like makes a lot of sense. So I can't discount that at all. Like it's just one of those things where I look at the artwork and I'm like, what's happening? Like what's that dude doing in that vest over there? I don't know. So but it's good that I like your choice. So your 3 choices. So
my 3 out of 3. That kind of
yeah. Number 2, the networks. I love this vector art. I love the silly scenarios that are on each of these cards. I have been known to get lost in like just staring at the cards or the ads or what the person's doing. I'm like, what is that? An arm or a leg? What are the, everything is a play on something else. You either get the references or you don't. Even the expansions for the networks. Love the artwork of the networks. So yeah, formal favorite games.
The 2 players still unfortunately sitting in Shrink. I've got to.
That is such a good version. So we played that with. Let's see, we played that online with Gil. Aaron and I played it, and it is really really good. Like that 2-player experience. Rival Networks is the name of it. It's really really good. So.
For my next one, I've got a shelf of big old Lacerda games, most of them illustrated by Ian O'Toole, and they're all great. But this is the big Ian O'Toole Lacerda, non-Lacerda Eagle Griffin game that I think is his best job, is the re-implementation of Rococo. This game, when you throw this board on the table, people just go, what is going on?
I mean, it's
it's huge. It's overwhelming, actually, for new players also, I think. But I mean, every piece of this is elegant. Even the little the little string and the lace. There's like the cards are all beautiful. They've got just like the little just extra flair. I don't even know what to call it, like gold trim looking art around it. Ian like took this, and you talk about like giving a game a new
facelets on a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Holy cow, right?
Yeah.
And the original Rococo was fine, but this is like crazy, right?
That's really cool.
As far as like games have wowed me artistically, and for everybody that sees it, this one's the top of the list.
Yep.
It's heavy as heck.
Yeah, well, I mean, that also kind of goes into we talked about earlier, which was
Chad. Oh, and those other guys. Yes.
Hey, Josh, what's up, man?
Go ahead and boot him. Just boot him now.
Boot him. No, I mean, like, so we talked about the fact that like Ian, does graphic design and the illustration work together. I think because of that, and he's a gamer, right? So I think like he knows how to like bring that UX experience to life and interweave the graphic design within the illustration experience. That like the illustration work itself is gorgeous, but the fact that it's so interwoven in the design, which is why it really works well for a lot of those Lacerda games, because they're so so heavy, and they're trying to translate that into an experience. Someone on the other side looking at that and can process it, I think it's a rare talent.
Yep,
for sure.
Yep. So very cool. So what's your next game? Where, if you're just joining us, we're talking about games where the art has impacted us, where we look at that artwork and it really spoke to us. So these are 5 games where the art really spoke to us as individuals. So what's your third one, Chad?
All right, so I'm gonna go. Well, I completely forgot it was on my list. I already talked about it, so I'm gonna briefly just mention it again. Just because it is on my list, I want to talk about it. So I think it's Parks, right? I think that the integration of a series of art from different artists, across this 59 Park series, to take that, weave it into a game experience and connect it to where it makes sense and how it flows well. Because, all the art's from all these different artists, but like the whole package experience looks good, and then putting that together with that 59 series brand, and it's just the everything about the package of that game. And Henry's design is so like just easy to grasp, and it's just fun to pick it right up and jump right in. It's just one of those games that I think it absolutely deserves to be on the mass market shelves that it is, and having the success that it has, because it is such just a well packaged experience, and that art certainly helps draw people into that.
And we love seeing that artwork. That artwork has appeared in numerous formats. We saw a poster a couple weeks ago. Aaron saw a book at Barnes and Noble that was the 59 Parks artwork from all the different designers. Beautiful stuff, and I love that somebody can go to Target and see it on the shelf in the game aisle, and then go into a bookstore and see the artwork on bookshelves. It's really, really cool. So
like Field Notes, I don't know if you know, like the little like notebook series that like a whole bunch of different types and stuff. So they have a whole bunch of the 59 Park series ones as well, which is cool.
So we had shout outs to Dungeon Pets from Adele, and then we had Lisboa from Justin. Both beautiful games. Dungeon Pets is still on my shelf of shame, going on 5 years. 5 years. Bought it for my 4.5 years. Bought it for my daughter, and then realized it was a big heavy euro and never played it.
You say 5 years? So
that's one. We didn't talk about this much, but I mean, like it is interesting how art can sometimes throw you off from like how heavy or light a game is. But if the art and the gameplay don't properly align, because Dungeon Pets looks like it's going to be some lightweight family game.
I bought it. My daughter's. So I think it's 5. I think it's 5 years. I bought it actually at a flea market at Atlanta Game Fest, and I bought it for a great price. Anyway, so Hank said Scythe. Yes. Very cool. So that's such influential artwork in that game.
Oh yeah, so, for sure. Absolutely.
Kohaku is on my list. So I'm not a suck up. Kohaku is on my list for anything beautiful and serene. Kohaku, the reason why it's on my list, because this is the game that when you just need to chill, you need to relax. Like, this is such a serene game. And every time this is on the table, I look at the art and I look at the fish and the dragonflies and the flowers, and there's just something peaceful about it. Like, it's one of those very rare situations where a game it just pops off the table with how it feels.
Yep.
So yeah, Kohaku is on my list.
Well, I appreciate that, obviously, but I mean, like, art is supposed to invoke like an emotion, right? I mean, I think
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, depending on the gameplay experience, you want to try to relay that emotion through artwork for the emotion you think someone needs to have while they experience the game design. I think Danny did a fantastic job with that Zen kind of chill vibe for that game.
Yeah,
bring that through, and it's just really just, I won't say simplistic, but it's like just beautifully simple, artwork.
Yep.
Style.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Do you know what that game originally was themed before it was?
Pumpkins.
You knew this? Pumpkins. I thought I was going to bring some like new knowledge, but Ryan knows.
No, man. We talked about it. I think you were over at the house one day and you told me about how it was originally pumpkins. I'm so glad that it got redone. You actually, this was part of our koi knowledge segment of the live stream that we did, where we were talking about koi. We were giving koi facts. Is it you that has a relative that has a koi pond?
My parents have a koi pond.
Okay, so your parents do have a koi pond. Okay,
they've got some koi in that pond that they've literally moved to 3 different houses.
That's
They're like
crazy.
over 27 years old. Like, somebody's koi in there. Yeah, it's nuts.
Josh said Too Many Bones is one of my favorites. I love the aesthetic. I mean, I got a tattoo on my body, so you really love it then. So
fair.
You have Too Many Bones tattoo?
He does. Interesting. It's right across his forehead.
Okay. You're reading that. I didn't even see that. It's in the comment.
No, you thought I had a Too Many Bones.
Really personal, Ron, about like something we all didn't know about.
Yeah, Too Many Bones tattoo right on my butt.
So. I was like, we all haven't seen this. I can imagine it's
nobody's seen it. So anyway,
we lost our family show designation.
I
know. All right, so koi trivia is what we're doing now. So, my family used to own an aquarium store, so I can tell you all sorts of.
That's right. I remember you saying that.
Yeah. Do you know koi can get sunburned? Goldfish can be sunburned. Little known koi fact. Know that. But different animal game from Elf Creek Games. Honey Buzz.
Honey Buzz. Beautiful.
Again, it is a game that like just looks like it came right out of a animated movie. Right?
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's a beautiful game. The board is more beautiful than it needs to be. Right? Like you look at it and it's like, okay, this is great. It's not overwhelming. It's just like you can tell they went all in on the design of this thing.
Yep.
And Honey Buzz is one that my family will play and have played because they're like, oh, it's really pretty. Teach me how to play that.
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's an easy in with the ladies in our family.
Yep. It's a good one.
Plus, again, with the tactile, the deluxe components for that are like the little
gummies
like
and
wooden honey stir thing. Like it's just a great production.
It's awesome
for sure.
Yep. So number 4, we're talking about games that we that have really impacted us with their art. So what you got? Chad?
Right,
Justin said, I was waiting for Honey Buzz. Another one I'm waiting for delivery to.
I am. So I'm waiting on what's it called? Merchants of the Dark
Road. Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful. Ooh, so good. Yeah.
That's Bosley, art on that one.
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna say this one and like every single expansion because they're all gonna be they're all the same thing. Dixit.
Yeah.
So like I literally have every Dixit expansion. Like it's like our go-to.
Dixit is such a beautiful game. Yeah. No matter who you play it with, people just get mesmerized by the cards. They look at them and they just like fall into this trance. They're like, "Oh, we're playing a game. Hold on, what?" It's so beautiful.
And it's so like all the art. I know they've used a ton of artists too, but like, and they all. I certainly can't pick out like set expansion. I can't tell the difference. Like I just mix them all together, but the how each piece of art, I mean, it's like it has so many facets to it, which whether it's colors or just minor things in it, like the way that all the artwork's pulled together, but to make that game to where any person can see that and try to like interpret all kinds of things out of it was just really impressively done. I mean, that game is completely based on art. Like that game has no other element to it, and it succeeds based on the artwork alone. So
absolutely,
that's pretty impressive to pull off like 10 expansions of it and still keep selling well.
Yeah. So my next one is Museum. This is a game that the first time I played it, I actually disliked it. We played it as a prototype before it got kickstarted at Origins, and I actually didn't enjoy it at all. Then the finished product, I got it as a Christmas gift, and it is one of my favorite set collection games out there. It is beautiful. Vincent Dutray did the artwork. Just every little detail of every artifact that you're collecting and all the little details on the cards and just everything about Museum is really, really pretty, from like the way that your the player boards are actually museum layouts. And so you've got this like almost like little architectural like drawing of, hey, this is my museum, and it's so cool. So such a cool game. Museum is one that every time I get it, I just stare at the cards and I'm like, that's beautiful, that's so nice. So
I think it's right there on my shelf.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yep.
See the red box right there.
There it is.
I think Josh mentioned Raccoon Tycoon and Lizard Wizard, which like Isaac's got Lizard Wizard. There it is. There's that idea.
Yep. Very pretty games.
Just started shipping this week. I got my notification. This is the
prototype.
The prototype. Oh, so Lizard Wizard's coming out. Right, good. I guess I'll be on the lookout for that.
It's come out really soon.
I'll tell you what, like I love is that the expansion for Raccoon Tycoon, the fat cat expansion over, it's got that giant cat like meeple in it. It's awesome.
That's cool.
Oh, her artwork is just absolutely stunning.
Dwellings of Elder Vale. Beautiful game. Yeah,
absolutely.
So
that was Sam Turner, maybe. I'm trying to get who did the art for that. I think it's Sam Turner.
I don't know if this game will fit on my screen. And it is only part 1 of this, but the pair affectionately known as Mr. Cuddington I refer to.
The big box.
There we go.
Head brush. There we go. Tidal Blades.
Yeah.
This game this thing just screams story, right? It screams art. It screams beauty. Like, it takes up so much room on my shelf, but I'm okay with that. Aesthetically, it's a beautiful game. Right? You can tell that James and company took a lot of effort to make sure that this was going to be the part of a very big story, right? And Cuddingtons just do what again is something that I'm like, I want to play a video game of that. I want to see this on my PS5. Right? Or I want to see this. I want to see this animated into a Saturday morning cartoon show, right? Like something that like it looks like it just wants to pop. That it's not. We talked about this a couple of years ago, I think, in one of our Game of Sidekicks podcasts about like why board game characters don't have the same kind of last of like cartoon characters or video game characters. We talked about there's no universes created for those things, and James is creating a universe here. So it'll be really interesting to see. Like he's creating a universe where these characters can have longevity in life and maybe a life outside of the board game community. So, it's it'll be interesting to see if they're able to take that off and head that way.
Yeah. So a little inside knowledge here. Bob said it was accidentally, this is the fat cat token, is accidentally made that large, then Glenn decided to run with it. So,
you got to run with that. Like no matter
that's cool.
Let's put this.
It was modeled after Bob's head size.
Oh, poor Bob. So last one. What do you got?
It's back to me. Okay.
Yep, back to you.
I'm gonna cheat again.
Are you gonna put like 7 of them in here?
No, just 3 again.
That shelf over there.
This shelf. I'm inspired by all of this.
So I'm also gonna like break a rule that I shouldn't use a game that that my company has published, but I'm gonna rope it in here.
You have some good, beautiful games. I mean,
So I've been trying not to use those. So I will say this. So this one I'm gonna call like the cute critters trio, right? So you got Everdell, Creature Comforts, and Winter Chicken Dinner. From it's really like to bring like animal characters, to give them personalities, and like where you can look and like, so Everdell does this beautifully because and across a wide range of characters, and that's obviously Andrew Bosley art there, and then we put like critter art kind of like on the map, right?
Yeah,
it's a big mainstream like draw, and then Helena mentioned earlier, Shauna Tinney with Creature Comforts. Again, like, and the art style is a little different, from like of how it feels, but like you take all these little cute woodland critters, and they like you feel a connection to them. Like they have like little personalities. Like, oh, it's like little mom and the little kid, like making pie, whatever. Like and you're just drawn to it. And then Shauna, who did Winter Winter Chicken Dinner, for me, had to go take that, and she's got this beautiful, children's book level, style art.
Yes. Yeah.
To go take 30 different foxes and give each of them their own kind of unique personalities, and like make them all feel different, even though it's just a whole bunch of different foxes. Like it's just amazing to have that kind of talent. Pull that
absolutely. Shauna did such a good job with like the chickens look like they're alive, and like they're not in pain, but they're like enjoying being murdered by this dog. So cooked, not murdered. So anyway, no, it's like, you're exactly right. To give an animal like these characteristics that make it feel like somebody is really cool. So Bob, yes, Andrew Bosley did do Jurassic Parks.
Yeah, he did do Jurassic Parks.
Yep.
Well, and Jason mentioned the same thing in Dwellings earlier, just how stunning it looks on the table. So
yeah,
it's just
so. All right, last one for me. Destinies is gorgeous from top to bottom, and the way that they made everything pop so well in not only digital format but also in just on the table. It does top down really well. It does like item cards really well. Like the models, the way that they look on the screen, the iPad, whatever you're playing it on. Destinies is really cool. And it's not only the artwork, but also the design, the music design behind it, like, is super impressive. And so that's one that it makes you feel something when you play it. So.
And who's the artist for that one? Because I don't know who's offhand. At least some of our art. Let's give him a shout out.
Yeah. Illustrations. Oh wow, that is a lot of European names that I cannot pronounce.
GG, everybody, look it up.
So this is I'm a Gutowski and nobody can pronounce my name. So let's see. Can we get in there? There we go.
There we go.
There you go. Bunch of illustrations there.
Yep.
Look at that.
That's fair. Okay, there you go. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I don't want to butcher all those names.
And Divinus, which I got over here, is same thing. Like next
beautiful.
One up, right? It was same thing. It's beautiful all across the board.
Yep.
All right, so I got one more, but you know what I was thinking also with creatures. We said creatures. I totally forgot about Kyle Farron and all the root creatures.
Oh yeah,
which is another just very unique styled artist. Right, because you see, what's the little one?
Fort
kids. Fort.
Love Fort
for that too, right? It's a unique style, and he's got kind of a rhythm to what he does with that. That just looks aesthetically great.
That's another one where, like, you look at the art and what you think the gameplay is going to be versus the design itself. Because that one looks like, he's cute little, little raccoon, whatever, and it's like, get ready.
Yeah, my wife gave that a shot because of the aesthetics, and then that was it. She never wants to play that again.
Well, Josh said not like anything with the Miko art on it. All like because he does all like the stuff for Shem, right? So like all the North Sea series and like the West Kingdom series. There's the new one, the new
they just announced 3 new ones, right?
Something coming up.
Yep.
If I had it in hand, it probably would have made this list because I would have absolutely talked about Endless Winter, which is coming up, with his art, which looks gorgeous from Fantasia.
Yep. So your last one, what you got?
Also sucking up like Ryan did, and a good segue for us.
Yes.
I love a good. You talked about gardening. I love a good aesthetic garden game, and I mean,
Oh, look at that.
About Gartenbau.
Yes.
Where did this come from?
There we go.
One of the reasons we have Chad on is to kind of talk about what's coming up with this. But I love up until now, I would say like plant based, and we did a whole spring segment one. But Pencil First Games has some of the best like
really
art as far as whatnot cabinet, the herbaceous sprouts. But Gardenbout, there's just something about throwing that big old sunflower in the middle of the table to start, and people's eyes are just, what is that?
Yeah.
We had a game night Friday night, and we were wrapping up. Everybody was done, and I got Gartenbau out, and we had some friends stay a little later because they really wanted to play it. And, but again, it pulls you in, right?
Yeah,
and when a game can pull you in, and you're sitting there going like, my gosh, look at the art on this thing. Like, it's just gorgeous. Like, that's, you got, like, you hooked in, right? And man, you guys did a tremendous job with the art.
So that one, well, in fact, all the flower art in that game is all vintage from like the late 19th century and early 20th century. So it's all late 1800s, like seed catalog, type art. And that's an era of, we license the art, for it, but it's like, it's an era of like all these beautiful annual catalogs that came out, and all these artists that just would make these just amazing pieces of work that would go into like just a catalog, so speaking of graphic design, so Todd Sanders and Matt Paquette both teamed up to do the graphic design work for that game, and really had to go and take this Victorian era artwork, and all different like orientations and like cuts and how it's done, and like basically go pull all of it out and arrange it how we need it to be arranged for certain components and things, and brought this whole like this vintage vibe experience together, and so hopefully people, like it is captivating. You see it, like, I mean, I'm a huge fan of it as well, and just I love the art from that period, and so I'm hoping it obviously other people appreciate that as well.
So we had you on so that you can talk a little about Gartenbau as we get ready to see it relaunch on Kickstarter. So tell us a little about what people can expect with the relaunch. It's November 9th on Kickstarter. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Okay. Actually, so Adele mentioned Mr. Habitat's Garden has quirky, fun seed catalog art. So also historical art that Todd Sanders worked and compiled. And used for that game. Actually, all of his pulp games too are all pulp cover art. Oh, looks like Isaac was showing off the big sunflower board.
The board,
So November 9th coming back. We had a launch initially like 2 weeks ago now, I think is when it was, roughly mid-October-ish. Just a weird kind of launch out of the gate, and we got some feedback about it, from folks, and went back and decided to obviously listen to that feedback. We canceled the campaign the next day after launch. It would have funded, and like it would have worked its way there and like slowly gotten there, but it was just what we felt like a lot of concerns were valid, from people, and so we went back and readdressed some things with it. So we actually tweaked some of the components and pulled it down a little bit so we can pull the price point down some. They've able to figure out a way. The prototype box has 2 boards in it. When you saw how big the board was, I was just holding it up.
Yeah.
So we for whatever reason we just didn't figure this out before. So the original version was supposed to have had 2 of those in it, which is extremely expensive, from a unit cost standpoint. So, but Dave figured out a way to we can actually make the board double-sided and kind of modular puzzle-y piece, kind of interlocking.
Okay.
Where we can actually, the reason why there's 2 boards in it because you have different pedal sizes for each player count.
Correct.
But you figured out a way where we can actually make that on two double-sided halves, and we just interlock them. And we can create the same 3 different board option experiences off of essentially one board. So that shaved some cost out. We decided to really, for this campaign, there's no stretch goals in this campaign. We're like, you know what, let's just right out of the gate, show everybody everything, like just the full vision of what this game is going to be. You know, all your normal stretch goals are all just done, right? We're going to finish on stuff, all those things. And then we actually ramped up another, like a backer only gift that we thought was going to be we had it planned as a potential stretch goal, which would then eventually go into the retail edition. But we're like, you know what? Let's do something a little special for the backers. And so we actually pulled potential stretch goal out. We're going to make it as just a backer only gift right out of the gate. Won't be in the retail copy later. That also allows us to potentially keep the potential price point down a little bit too, which should long term will also help.
Yeah.
And so now the game's going to come back. Looking at $49, for the price for it this time, which will be 11 off of MSRP. So if you wait, maybe 60, in stores down the road, then plus a free gift. That's a really nice deluxe wooden, set of resources for folks.
That's really
cool.
cool.
Like Bob was asking what the deluxe copy still being an option. So. Yep.
So that is Gartenbau is. Man, I remember. So you sent us over a prototype of it pretty early on, and I remember punching that, sitting in the living room, taking forever to punch out every piece because there's a lot of pieces.
But like when 5 pounds of cardboard.
It's a lot of cardboard. But sitting down and playing that game is just fantastic. And I think with what you all did with the board, with the boards and different pedal configurations, it plays great no matter what player count. I mean, I love the game at every single player count, and that's not true of some of the games that we have in our collection. Like there's sometimes when somebody's like, "Oh, let's play this game," I'm like, there's only 3 of us. I don't want to play it. Like it's not good at that player count. And so when Gartenbau, I mean, every time you sit down and play 2, 3, 4 players, it is great every time. And it is such a puzzly game. It gets you thinking, gets your brain hurting just a little bit, and it's beautiful. So
it's cognitive overload. Well, the beginner version of it is pretty straightforward, right? And it's designed to be straightforward because it's for those that haven't played it yet or seen anything about it. You're essentially building a 3 tiers of tile laying, and how you've got flowers, which is the top tier, which you're trying to work toward, which will score you the most points, have a condition set for what they need to be placed on top of from a second level. The second level has conditions that have to be on top of the first level, which is like the seeds. It's like seed plants, flowers. For the beginner tiles, the points you score for the flower set are just they're pretty standard. Like they're relatively easy to understand. You don't have to get too thinky. But when you move to the advanced tiles, that same simplistic game design exists. Like you still do the exact same thing on a turn, which is actually very fast and very like you do one thing. And so like people are like, "Oh, it's my turn again." Like that's a common thing people say because it does move really fast. But where it gets really thinky and where I think the game it's such a fun puzzle experience is because in the advanced set, not only do your flower tiles score points on their own, but they also have additional scoring capabilities that not only could be your second tier, if you have certain second tiers exposed, but even your seedling, your bottom tier. So now you're trying to go think about, well, how do I arrange my garden, not only just the color combinations, but like, how do I build it in such a way where I can maximize points for this flower tile 3 tiers down, right?
Yeah.
And try to find a way to synergize those same placements across maybe another flower tile or a third flower tile. So you're thinking about trying to layer and build a puzzle for like 3 different outcomes as you're doing. And like in the rondel drafting, the tiles, you're constantly looking to see what tiles are out there, like trying to it's a lot to that cognitive load in your brain, like to think about that puzzle aspect. But that's what makes it good though. And it's
really good.
Quick and simple to play a turn.
Yep.
Your AP is just in placement of your tile a lot of times. You're like, my turn, I'm like still placing my tile. Like, hold on,
I may or may not have video footage of Chad taking an entire turn to place one plant, one seedling. He's sitting there like looking and he's thinking, he's looking back. Everybody takes a turn, and then it's back to Chad, and he's like, "Oh, hold on." So I may or may not have that video footage. So
yeah, no, I've enjoyed. We've gotten to play it, like Ryan said, at multiple player counts, and everybody's really enjoyed it. It's a very different game at 2 players than is at 4, but it's it's different that in just that movement, right? That negotiation of I may not use those extra things to move ahead, but at 4 players, you bet I'm going to end up using them because I need a tile.
Yeah,
and plants are running out too fast,
That's
and
right.
just that the way it moves, it's super smooth. Like Bob said, I enjoy that little bit. I like a game with a little bit of drafting in the beginning, like Res Arcana with a little bit of draft at the beginning is a fun little extra. It feels like an extra game in the game. And like the drafting part of this at the front, that kind of steering in the direction you're going to go. Like I love that. It just adds just that one more layer of complexity. It doesn't make the game harder, just makes it deeper.
It's really good. So
yeah, plus like you get the second layer of tiles you have to purchase. So it's for the core rondel, you're either picking up a tile that you're going to place for free, or you're going to go off the tile and pick up resources like water and sun. And so you need those resources to then go purchase your second tier tiles. That's how you get the second tier tiles. Your third tier, you're given at the beginning. So you know what those are, which you have to go acquire the second tier with purchasing power. And every time someone buys one of those tiles, the next one is more expensive. So it takes more resources to get the next one. But it's also worth more points if you don't cover it with a flower tile.
Sure.
So you also got to think about how you're building out and like trying to maximize points, because you may have a flower tile that you intentionally don't want to cover the second tier tiles because your net point difference could be negative, in some cases, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just
good.
efficiently putting them down,
Yep. So Jason says Gartenbau has everything we're looking for: great art, drafting, resource management, tile laying, puzzle scoring, manipulation, chef's kiss. That is a great way to explain it.
There you go.
So it's real good. So Gartenbau, you can be sure to check out the launch of that on Kickstarter. It's relaunching on November 9th. We actually have a full playthrough video that's going to launch actually this week at the end of the week. And I believe both of our websites, both Gaming with Sidekicks and One Board Family, have full reviews, full previews of the game. Is yours already published?
Oh yeah. It's out. It's ready to go.
Yep. So both of them have been published. So be sure to check those out. We've talked a lot about games. Do we want to do what we've been playing? One game that we've been playing?
One game.
One game.
All right. One game I've been playing lately.
We've been playing a lot of spooky board games. So Port Royal is one that is not spooky, but we've been playing it. It's one of our favorite pressure luck games. It's fun to play with my friend Blake, who presses his luck too hard, and he busts all the time. This game has actually taught him moderation, which is good. He ends up playing this game, and he's like, I'm not going to bust. I'm not going to bust. And he actually ends up winning this sometimes. But Port Royal, a lot of fun. One of our favorite pressure luck games.
So don't play 10 with them.
No.
I'm the worst.
Or me or Chad. Or me or Chad. You don't know yet. Me and Chad do not like 10.
What?
No, I know 10. I know Chad doesn't like 10. He let us know that after playing it once or twice. He was like, yeah, pass.
Yeah.
He turned down further games of that, I believe.
I'm just not good at it.
I don't like it. I played it the other night. I still don't like it. So it's fun. So
Chad, what have you been playing?
Every time. So I end up with like 4 points in the game. So I have like one of each color.
Yeah. So
it's points. I've been playing speaking of aesthetic games, got to play this with some friends recently. Just beautiful game, right? From North Star. Oceans is fun. It's mean. It's not a long game, which I really enjoy, but there's a lot of different things going on in this one, and the deep really just adds so much to this game.
That's cool.
Like the creatures are all just like it feels like well, this is powerful. Well, I got this. It's almost munchkin-y, like, I got this thing. It's going to beat this thing. It's going to beat that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun. It was nice to get it to the table. I haven't played it in almost a year. So
yeah,
I got a lot of those haven't played in a while games on the shelves. So it was good to play that one.
That's good. So Bob says it's okay to be wrong about a game. 10 is phenomenal. He loves that. So and Adele asked, do you like Port Royal more than Dead Man's Draw? I do. I've played Dead Man's Draw a couple times. I like Port Royal a little more.
I'm going to have a dissenting opinion on that.
Really?
Judge. I like Dead Man's Draw a little better.
Dead Man's Draw is really good. I think I like Port Royal a little more. So Chad, one game that you've been playing?
Oh man. This is not like, I've been playing it a lot for like two reasons, and this is totally not like a promotional post or a promotional mention. So I've been playing a lot of Ghost Love Candy 2.
What's the full name of this one?
The what now?
What's the full
Ghost
name
Love Candy
of it?
2? What was it?
Electric Boogaloo.
Wow,
thank you.
Well, now you're off the show.
Thank you.
Right?
It's not anywhere on the box or in the manual, but we all know what it is. So anyway,
it's an unwritten.
It's an unwritten full title. So
Ghost Love Candy 2, Electric Boogaloo. So
when might we see that game coming out from you guys?
So this one, I've been playing a lot. So we had a prototype, single copy made. I got up for me and Danny as well. So this is a game that came out originally. Here I can actually show
Steve Jackson.
Yep.
So this was originally a Steve Jackson game called Ghost Love Candy. Came out in a typical Steve Jackson size box. Came out
classic.
I don't know, 5-6 years ago. So illustrated and designed by Danny Devine, did Kohaku, of course, and so we were talking about it, and he got the rights back to it, and of course, he did all the artwork too. So I was like, well, why don't we just bring it back? It's a fun Halloween game. It's spooky.
It's a really good game. Yeah.
So we brought it back. So this is the new cover. So obviously, since it's not really a sequel, it still has the same, most of the same core gameplay experience. We just called it Ghost of Candy 2 instead of like number 2. The new one's gonna have 100 kids in it instead of like 28, I think was in the original. So we got up to 100 now.
So good.
Some new ghosts. We have a new mechanic where some of the treats are junk treats, like you actually lose points for collecting those treats. So things like you don't want to get at Halloween, like a toothbrush or
a penny,
like ketchup packets in there, and like a rock and a spider ring and things like that. So change the mechanics up a little bit. It now works at 2 players, so actually it's 2 to 6 instead of 3 to 6. So hopefully that help out some folks get to the table more often. And so been playtesting the physical version just from like a UI standpoint, and coming out next fall. So this will probably be more likely to be a straight to retail release and summer.
That's really cool. I love Ghost Love Candy, and helping playtest a little bit. Ghost Love Candy 2 is pretty fantastic. So yeah.
Nice.
Cool. So we have gone like a long time on this episode, but this has been real good. So Chad, thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. So Isaac, where can people find you all?
Game of Sidekicks over at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, over at our TikTok page. I'm still trying to keep chugging along, making some fun content on there.
Trying to keep it up?
Yeah, our one video just kept on chugging after Origins. It ended up
cool.
I think around like 180,000 views. So it was
what?
Nuts. Yeah,
that's nice. Very cool.
We've got some. It's been fun doing stuff on there, just kind of different format, and kind of goes out some different things. So, but at our core, find us over at gameofsidekicks.com, where, as you mentioned, we got the preview for Gartenbau, along with some other fun stuff coming in the near future here.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Of course, One Board Family all over the place at One Board Family, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You could also go and see Bob doing an awkward thing on TikTok. Might make you uncomfortable. Might not make you uncomfortable. I don't know, but we have a TikTok account and Bob's running that. So
it made me uncomfortable.
It made me a little uncomfortable.
The thought of
that's
that
fine.
makes me uncomfortable.
That's
yeah, I
good.
don't know about this.
It's all
TikTok
good.
attacks.
It's good.
That's not good. I'm his roommate. That's gonna be bad.
Oh, you guys are rooming together. Ooh, fun.
Oh boy.
Oh man. So that'll do it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thanks for everybody in the comments, no matter where what page you were following along at. Thank you so much for commenting. That's what honestly, that's what makes this show. It's called the Game Chat. The fact that people chime in, we can throw it on the screen, like it's super fun. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And and we'll be back in 2 weeks. All right. See you then.
Bye everybody.
Bye.